Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you're watching us, and welcome to Tabasamu Tena with me, Patricia. This is the place where we empower you. Very important, we empower you with the real causes of behavior problems in people, and we also inspire you to take back your life and ultimately smile again. In our previous episode, we talked about should we hate our parents for what they did to us? All the wrongs that they did. Well, they hurt us. They made wrong choices for us. They could have offended us in very many ways. Should we hate them? And clearly, we were able to agree that we should not hate our parents. But now, there is that parent who's estranged, whose children want nothing to do with him or her. Or there is this child who wants nothing to do with their parents. If that is your situation, how best can you handle such a situation? Because some things are very easy said than done. Joining me on set to have this candid conversation is Benjamin Zulu and our resident expert, Pastor Mweni Wambua. Now, the last time we were here, we talked about should we hate our parents? And we were in agreement that we shouldn't. Actually, Benjamin really ended it so well. Do not make your life a revenge mission. But now, some things we just say, surely, Pastor Mweni, because you are the pastor here, talk to that girl out there who was raped by the father. And you're telling her not to hate the father.
Rape by anyone is a very sad thing. It's a very difficult and tragic thing. It is one of those things that is a watershed in your life. There is going to be a life before and life after, forever. Now, to be raped by someone who is supposed to be a source of security, identity, and approval and affirmation,
protection even,
is a disaster.
Yes,
is a disaster for both of you, actually, because here is the reality. In the psychosocial theory of development, Erik Erikson says that at a certain age, at age 65 and above, you begin to look at the task of development at that point is about legacy and ego despair. What kind of a life did I live? What kind of a life have I left with the people that I loved? What am I going to be remembered for? What has my life been about? Or what are the regrets that I have in this life? And so that parent who is at that stage, who is in that place of having hurt you knowingly or unknowingly. First of all, if it was an issue of rape, the law must take its course. Remember that justice is also who God is, and God is a God of justice. So I would suggest pursue the justice system. And pursue,
by justice, you mean let him be arrested?
Let the law take its course.
Okay.
Yeah, but pursuing justice is not in place of forgiving. Because you can still pursue justice and he can still be sentenced, but he still need to forgive so that you can be able to move on with your own life. Yes. To forgive is to let go of a better yesterday. So to forgive is to actually release yourself and to widen your world beyond the world that your father was trying to shut you in. And to forgive is to be actively involved in your own life. And therefore, you need to intentionally seek to move in that journey. That means if it means seeking therapy, so be it. If it means seeking spiritual help, so be it. Remember that rape has many repercussions, and therefore rape has many areas to be cured. So these are the things that we begin to call biopsychosocial. What are the physical effects of that? What are the psychological effects of that? What is the social effect of rape on a person? So therefore, healing must also come on the different fronts.
Benjamin.
When you go through abuse, you should not try to go back to who you were. And when you advise victims, don't tell them to get over it. When you go through anything that is significantly emotional in your life, you cannot gloss over it, step over it. You're supposed to integrate that new experience into your new reality. When you go through pain, that pain becomes a university of some sort.
Yeah, true.
It teaches you the inside view of that thing. And many times, the nurse who attends you best is one who suffered what you're suffering.
Precisely.
You become a doctor, a healer, because, okay, you did not choose it, but you say, because I went through it, I might as well make use of it. It's very sad that Tamar, that woman who was raped by the stepbrother, she really diminished. After that, she's not mentioned. She went holding, she's ashamed. Never take the shame of the people who abused you. Let it remain on them. The pathology is on them. Let it wash over you. The way shepherds do is they used to oil the heads of sheep so that when they gonga over each other, they slide past it. Let the abuse slide. Don't let it hit. Let it slide. Talk to yourself. What matters most is not what you went through, it's what you believed about you since then. Self-talk is your prophecy of what you shall become. That's why God is repeating, do not fear. For emotions, we usually carry after abuse either shame, guilt, fear, or anger. I'll repeat, shame. Shame says I'm a wrong person. Guilt says I've done something bad. Fear says I cannot attempt that, it will go wrong. And then anger says I have to revenge. So many times, if you check that after you go through anything, you have any of those emotions, look for any platform you can to help you process it. And I want you off air to be very careful before you disclose to these 4 people. Your family, your relatives, where you work, and your church. It's okay, just your friends that you need church in our congregational worship. But I also told you to be careful as you give testimony, as you ask for prayers. Don't disclose too much of your life. Because sometimes those people who are sexually abused, physically abused, verbally abused, when they tell us, we start making them re-experience their abuse by repeating it to them. Nasikia palichapwa, akiwacha tukuombea tulichapwa sana. Amekuchapa tena. Sasa kunaendeleaje? Mume wako anaacha hiyo. The more we repeat it, the more we re-traumatize you. Sometimes you need a private space, and I always encourage people to disclose your story to strangers, probably a professional, a person who you're just paying money, they have no interest in displaying it to anyone. So seek healing, and what you need to know is healing does not mean going back. It means processing it to stop being a place of pain and start being a place of experience. Experience is not the best teacher. Only a processed, re-evaluated, organized experience. You can go through many things and you learn nothing. It's when you reflect, when you pause to reorganize it, when you become wiser. And somebody says that some people experience teach the fools, but some folks will not learn any other way. You should not wait to be taught by experience. But when you go through painful experience, use it to teach others. Use it to help others. Use it to be compassionate. Pain can make you bitter or better. It makes you bitter if you let it lie there. It's like when you have a broken bone. If you don't attend to it, it will heal while twisted. We need also to talk about you can be heartbroken by your parents. Heartbreak is not about love relationships. When you expected care, and where you expected care, you got curses, you got pain, they were in the wrong direction, you feel heartbroken. Heartbreak can be a place of compassion if you process and go through it. And we ourselves, many times you realize the time you disappointed a person. What would you wish them to do? You would wish them to really forgive you and move on and heal and go on. Do the same to yourself. Those who help. And you know, when you carry a person saying it's because of them, by the way, Patricia, the reason we remain victims is because there's a pleasure in having a person to blame for the way your life has turned out. True. It's not me, it's the way they did to me.
If my mother
don't
did.
blame me, it's the same. Look at me, it's not. So you need to leave that small place. And there are people I meet. Many times I've given, before Jesus healed anyone, he usually asks them, the person is blind, but Jesus is asking them,
what
do you want to see? Do you want to see? I used to think that question at no point. Until I came to know, Jesus knew not every blind person wants to see. You have met those cripples in town who have a wound, but they keep making it fresh,
bigger and
using
bigger.
tomato sauce.
It's a business.
To make it, because it's a begging point. It's a self-pity to solicit for money. You want to check. Sometimes you can use our emotional pain as a place to solicit for pity. Have you heard these people who keep giving same testimony? When I was 12, they did this to me. When I was 13, they did this to me. If it was done to you when you are 13 and now you are 30, the ball has since changed to your court. It's upon you now. I like the way she put it. Okay, now recovery becomes your responsibility. From the time you become a grown-up, from the time you become your own man, your own woman. Now take it upon yourself to heal.
Now, come on, guys. There are parents who messed up. Na kabisa, they know they went wrong. Na kama mzazi anajua, and they acknowledge. But they are still being condemned. Recently, I know of a lady who died alone because her children want nothing to do with her. Well, yes, she was wrong. But surely, talk to that parent who is estranged, that parent who's going through rejection because of their sins.
Okay.
That parent.
Patricia, life does not exist in a vacuum. So if the parent realizes that they did things that were wrong to their children, and they still died alone. My question is, what did they do with the realization?
They reached out and they were blocked.
They reached out and they were blocked. Did they make any other effort beyond reaching out and being blocked? Because in this day and age, there are many ways to reach people.
For example?
You know, I could go through your best friend. I could go through your sister. I could go through an auntie. I could even call a professional therapist who, I am a professional mediator. Go through a professional mediator. Find out from this person, this is what I have done. This is what I would like to do. And it's not necessarily for lack of material things or for pursuit of material things. I just want to make peace with my child. I just want to make peace with my daughter. But how much have you tried to reach out? Because guess what? Like Benjamin said, the ball is on your court. The ball is on your court to pursue reconciliation in this case. Because guess what, Patricia? While they cut off with you, they also cut off with the person that they were that allowed the abuse to take place. When a daughter cuts off with her mother, she does not only cut off with the mother, she cuts off with the version of herself that allowed the abuse to take place. And therefore, if you want to reconcile with that daughter, you need to reconcile with the daughter she is now, not the daughter she was then. So if you want to reconcile with your daughter now, you have lost the power to be able to summon her. Because the person she was then would be summoned. But today, you may not necessarily have the power over her to summon her. However, you still have the ability to reach out in many different ways. Even in writing, it is still a possibility. My question is, are you pursuing reconciliation as intentionally as you would pursue reconciliation if it was you who was wronged? Are you, and also we must also realize that our lives are intertwined. I would ask even that parent, what is the motivation for you pursuing reconciliation? Because if the reason you're pursuing reconciliation is because you do not want to die alone, I would say check your heart. But if the reason you're pursuing reconciliation is because you realize that you did wrong and you do not want this wrong to perpetuate, not just with your children, but with your grandchildren, then I say pursue reconciliation in the best way possible. There are all sorts of ways available to us. We don't exist in a vacuum, and where there is a will, you will find a way.
And let's be careful when we tell people to seek reconciliation that we're asking them to establish relationship. It takes two to tango.
No.
Sometimes, and I like the way she's putting it, that I think the best aim is to make peace.
Yeah.
Just make peace with your children. Just make peace and say, I realize. And leave it there. If they want friendship, you are open. If they don't want, at least there's peace now. No tension, no strife, no hatred, no anger. There comes a time, most of our parents never realize it. They're totally blind or they're just totally arrogant.
Or even they don't know.
You see, let me tell you what happens for most of us. We think that wisdom comes with age. But guess
It
what?
doesn't.
Sometimes age
It
comes
doesn't.
alone. Age just comes alone. Year after year, age is solo. You know, and that means that just because your parents are older doesn't mean they're wiser. But once you know better, you must do better. So once you realize that what you did to your children was wrong, then you must be the one that allows yourself to also be able to say, I am sorry.
Initiate.
And it doesn't take, in fact, a parent saying to a child, I am sorry, makes you a bigger person.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't diminish you in the eyes of the child.
No, it doesn't.
It makes that child look back and think, my parent has grown up.
And please, parents, let's agree. We are human beings and we too make mistakes. By the way, where I come from, parents don't make mistakes. And you cannot correct your parent or tell your parent that they wronged you because you're disrespecting them and you will be cast.
That's fine. It's also the same place that says all fathers and mothers were number one in class.
Okay. So now, do parents go wrong?
I think when the question is not do parents go wrong, is a reality that parents are human. and
They
therefore have
are.
capacity to go wrong.
Go wrong,
and
yes.
will go wrong because they are human and it's terminal.
And it's okay to be told. Please allow your children to tell you if you wronged them. Because again, you may not know. Maybe it was not even intentional. And the only way for you as a parent to know if you wronged your children is by listening to them. Don't put those barriers of, you cannot tell me because if you tell me, you're rude, you're disrespecting, and I will curse you. Please, let's listen to our children, because out there children are hurting and there's need for healing. Now, Pastor Mueni, we are running out of time. My director is telling me, time, Ekwisha, your parting shot.
My parting shot is that parenting is one of the most humbling responsibilities that can never be laid on the shoulders of a person. Because parenting never looks at your CV, never looks at your bank account, never looks at any of those external things that define us. Parenting is extremely humbling because when a child comes to you, they are not interested to know, they don't care how much you know, they want to know how much you care. And therefore, it is a privilege, it is a responsibility, and it is something that we should not enter into lightly. However, should we find ourselves in the space of being parents, biological or otherwise, we must know that these people that are under our care have been given to us for a period of time, and we are but stewards of them. And therefore, we must one day remember that they will go back to their maker. So my question to you as a parent is, when they go back to their maker, what did you do with these people when they were under your care? You must always live with that awareness that you are but a steward of your children. But also you must allow yourself to grow as your children grow in stature, in the eyes of man, and in the eyes of God.
Benjamin.
Mine is to the young people who need to forgive. Sometimes you have to accept an apology that was never sent.
Thank you.
You might have to forgive a person
Who is not even
never
sorry. Yes.
And that takes strength. It takes strength to forgive a person who is not sorry, but you are able to do it. Forgiveness is not justifying what they did, it's to take power back to yourself.
Come on, guys. It cannot end better than this. And please, please, guys, before you become a parent, let's prevent this thing of generational, they like calling it generational curses. Remember my quote, heal before you become a parent. Kindly heal before you become a parent so that your children don't have to heal from having you as their parents. We'd love to hear your feedback. Send us your comments, your questions, your suggestions, and we will be sure to get back to you. You can talk to us directly at Tabasamu Tena, and if you feel like you want to talk to Pastor Mueni, you can talk to her directly. She's on all the social media platforms. Same as Benjamin, you can talk to them directly, and please, 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 we want to hear your feedback. It's been real, it's been good. Until next time, God bless.